Curious versus Ruin.
Game number 2 starts with the Zerg player to the top right, the Startail player. It is the Gatekeeper. You have Curious here in a 1-0 lead against his opponent. Doing a great job in game number 1, and it looks like in game number 2 he's going for the aggression. That looked very much like a 10 pull to me.
Yep,
and there it is.
You're exactly correct.
Bottom left we have his opponent, who needs to be a bit cautious here. This is his map choice, this is Yonsu. Ruin, can he scout what's happening? Will he scout it? Will he be able to react against the 10 pull opening of Curious? The Zerg player having an incredible day today.
Yeah, and this is the kind of move that I really respect, because it's basically Curious saying, all right, well, you have a plan for this map, but I'm going to shake that up right away with an early pool. And this is an interesting forge placement that we have. So he's definitely planning on cannoning a hatchery first, but that's the opposite of what he's going to see. However, the forge on the main base is going to make it really easy for him to defend the attack coming out from Curious. This is going to be a funny game, how this turns out.
This is a great opening for Ruin, because Ruin is basically trying to get an expansion out here, and he has the Forge in the main base. It's an old build that we saw in Wings of Liberty. That means the only thing that he's gonna lose is the pylon on the low ground. If he cannons up in the main base immediately upon realizing what is happening here, he's not gonna lose a lot. But he will not get this space of his anytime soon.
It just depends on how much Curious really commits as to how things go, because if Curious commits more than 8 Zerglings, then that's going to hurt him. But if he only does 8 here and then makes his own hatchery, he's going to be in a decent spot.
Yeah. And, you know, with the Queen coming up and it being a 10 pull and not a 7 pull or anything like that, Curious is trying to transition out of this. And this means that we will have a 2-base play from Curious at the beginning, whereas Ruin is stuck on 1 base. He cannot possibly move out and take this Nexus.
Yeah, not only is he stuck on 1 base, but he doesn't have his gateway tech up, which means his warp gate is delayed, which means that everything else is delayed. And he sees the Queen here, so Ruin's like, okay, you're going to transition out of this. You already have the Queen ready, but losing this pylon is a little bit of an annoyance.
Curious is going to be a little bit unhappy that the pylon or that the forge wasn't built on the low ground, because that was what he was hoping for. You can't save that. You have to build the cannon in the main base, and you cannot really save your wall. So the only thing that Curious is going to do right now is try to cancel the gases, try to cancel everything that is outside the range of the cannon, and at the same time macro it up.
Yep. There's the cancel on the assimilator. As a pros player, you know, just a tip for pros players who have trouble against this type of build, when you make the cannon, you always want to put it towards one of your assimilators, because if you put it dead in the middle, it doesn't protect either of them, so you have to just pick one and protect that one. He protects the one that's next to his wall, which is smart, and the Zerg player is always going to be able to stop the second assimilator. It's not worth it to make 2 cannons either, so you just kind of have to accept that one of your assimilators will be attacked.
So Curious has perfect vision now. He knows everything that's happening here and finds a great spot where he can actually attack the gateway as well. That's amazing for him.
Yeah, this is actually going to force probes off the line. And there's nothing Ruin could do about it. I mean, he's trying to get the Zealot out, but even the Zealot will be surrounded and killed. He has to use probes here.
Yeah, and he is likely to lose that gateway. Well, with the Zealot coming out right now, it's not going to happen. Once again, a cancel on the assimilator maybe. But the perfect scouting information that we have for Curious now. He doesn't build any additional Zerglings. With more Lings, he could do a bit more damage here. Try to surround the Zealot, take it down, maybe snipe another assimilator. But what he really wants to do is just make use of the 2 bases that he has. That's a big advantage that he gets out of this. And oh, nice surround here. Really nice moves. Look at that. Curious, like a boss, getting another surround. Warcraft 3 micro in action right there.
Man, really, really solid. He's even finding another location where he can start to do damage. I don't think he's going to get this pylon, but he's just very, very diligently poking with the one advantage he has in this game, you know, just this pressure that he has, and he goes with it. You have the 2 gateways here for Ruin. But I'm curious to see what he's going to do, actually, as the next step.
Oh, yeah.
His gas mining here is actually so negatively affected by this that he puts 4 probes in gas.
So for Ruin, it's just the choice. Okay, he goes for Nexus. He could also choose to just go into an aggressive build of 1 base, but it's
predictable, you know.
He's in a horrible spot. Let's just be honest here. We have 3rd base now being built. Ruin cannot do nothing to really contest the 3rd or contest the natural of Curious, which means that Curious has all the time in the world and all the freedom that he needs to just drone up like a madman, get his economy up, get his tech up there, and Ruin has to hope to just get a solid base right now. Just stabilize again on 2 bases, get the tech out there, maybe put a little bit of pressure on the Curious, but the opening for Curious was a great one.
Yep. 1 Ling gets on the main base here, the sentries will shut it down. but he already saw what he wanted to see, which was the Nexus.
The big difference between Curious starting with a 6 pool, a 7 pool, or anything else, and the 10 pool that he chose is that he has the Zerglings that are able to cancel everything on the low ground. He will not be able to finish the game, but he can transition out of it quite easily, and that's exactly what he did. So now we have him on 36 Harvesters, on 2 Mineral Lines already, with a 3rd base in the making, whereas Ruin doesn't have the 2nd Nexus just yet, and Curious is now taking a little bit more gas because he wants to start his tech a bit faster. Speed is now done, we have Roaches there that gives him a safety net against the potential gateway aggression, so a great position for Curious.
Yeah, great for Curious. And this Twilight Council, it could be for DTs actually again, as we already saw in Game 1 of this winner's match. But Blink is also a possibility where he goes for Blink and +1, tries to fight against the Zerglies and try to do a timing attack. But he's going to be under constant pressure from Curious here, who can now drone up behind this one small group of units because Ruin doesn't know how many more units are being committed to. He can only see this. His Mothership Core is going home desperately right now to try to help with the overcharge. Good force fields here, but the rest of the Lings actually coming from the left side are going to pick off a Sentry. Barely saves it, at least keeps it alive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Sentry goes down in the end, and now the force fields are gone. He could break through here, he's trying to. He might try to snipe one of those pilots, but with the Mothership Core back, the Photon Overcharge is of course a threat.
Yeah, he's just poking, you know? He doesn't have to commit. He has Burrow on the way against a possible timing attack off 2 bases, which I think is what he's expecting, which is a reasonable expectation. And he's going to have Lair. He can start Roach Speed as well very soon. And it's just a quick commitment here to a few units. Not a ton of larva for him when he has 3 bases. And this is not looking good for Ruin at all.
No, not at all. Like, this is one of the worst case scenarios for him because he is just falling farther and farther behind, and he has to play passive at that. He would like to just put some pressure on, but Curious is now just getting his upgrades. He has the Lair Tech there. He's going into Burrow. He has everything going for him. There's no 3rd base for Ruin. You know, if Ruin can turtle, if Ruin can really turtle, get the upgrades out there, get a massive army, and hold on just a little bit longer, maybe get that 3rd base at some point, then he might be able to get a big army that can snowball, that can just Death Ball style take down the Zerg player's army and then continue the momentum into the Zerg player's bases. But just right now, Curious is the one who has all the cards in his hands.
Yeah, it looks like Ruin is actually just going to continue to tech. He's got the robotics coming up. He's getting +2 with that Twilight Council as well as Blink. It's not just going to be for a Blink timing. He just wants to have this tech out to help defend his bases. And what Curious can do here is just continue to be aggressive at the 3rd. He has a decent drone count. He might actually just July Zerg style, like his old teammate in StarCraft 2, and just go up to like 60 drones, just over 60, and then pour on the aggression because he's been ahead for so long that it's going to be hard for Ruin to have enough units to defend.
I'm just curious to see what exactly he's going to build in terms of like tech units. If we see Heavy Mutalisk, for example, he could go 4th base now. He's trying to take down that army on the other hand, and once that is gone, that 3rd base will fall as well. Yep. The recall saves him for now, but most of the sentries are already gone, and now suddenly it's the Nexus that is under attack.
This is actually going to be tight here to actually try to get the Nexus. The Immortal itself is going to really help out, and he's actually going to target it down. There's so many more Lings, and the Lings dodge the Time Warp. They get up here, and the Roach is on the low ground. Can actually just go over to the right side now, use the force fields against him, force a cancel on this Nexus, and things for Ruin are looking worse and worse by the second here.
And there's the Spire that I was mentioning. He has the Spire out now. So with the Spire, he can first of all counter potential Colossi play, but he can also just switch into a heavy Mutalisk commitment and then still with ground units try to go ham on the 3rd base while the Mutalisks are entering the main.
Like you said, just going ham over here, just continue to trade because he knows it's 3 base against 2 base. He's even got a Macro Hatch coming up here, and he's got a great economy. Even adds a 4th base right now, and he's just saying, all right, I'm going to keep trading against you. You have to be defensive. You have to be a little bit timid about taking your 3rd base, meaning your economy is further behind. And keep making Immortals, please, I beg of you, because I'm gonna make Mutas if you do.
Macro Hatch is coming up, and just look at all the resources that Curious has banked up. That means he can go straight into 14, 15 Mutalisks if he wants to.
I think that's exactly what we're going to see.
I would be very surprised if it's not. I mean, that's all that he needs right now. There's nothing else going to happen. So the main base is wide open. All the units are now at the natural, just trying to claim a 3rd base. And here come the Mutalisks. Ada being built immediately, has a little bit of a lava problem at this point, but that's not going to hold for long. Here come the additional injects. At the same time, the Zerg player is trying to take down that army. Another Immortal about to fall, but nice Warp Prism Micro by Ruin.
He's trying to do what he can, you know, and he will hold this, but look at the supply, 119 to 77. The Mutas, 17 of them.
17 Mutalisks are being built.
What is he going to do with? I mean, what is he going to do with this army? He can't just go for a timing and try to kill one of Curious' bases. That's never going to work in a million years.
Yeah, their Mutalisks will be there. Zerglings will be the follow-up. Then we have Ling Muta against the army. That's not going to happen. There's no vision for Ruin anywhere on this map. And the Mutalisks are giants trying to circumvent what's going on. And Ruin is assuming that there's just a heavier Roach commitment coming. He's going into additional Immortals, and why wouldn't he?
He's just going to lose to... he's gonna, well...
No, there's not enough Mutalisks yet to really
yet. They're not all
contest the
together.
Stalkers, but still. I actually would have preferred Curious to move into the main base, to be absolutely honest with you.
Yeah, he doesn't have the rest of the Mutas with his army. He has a few more back at home. Now they're coming, and the Lings on the ground are actually going to allow him to fight this. Yeah. And this time things are going to get out of hand.
Exactly. Lings are the important factor here. Lings on the ground, supported by Mutalisks in the air. That works, but he lost a few Mutalisks before even that happened. So he can trade. He doesn't have to trade cost efficiently. He has 4 bases over his opponent. But I think that an attack in the main base against the probes would have done him more good.
Yeah, this was kind of like Curious seeing blood in the water. He's the Stone Cold Killer. He's just going to go for it rather than playing a longer game. I mean, if you look at that fight alone, you're like, wow, Curious lost a lot there. But look what he has coming up behind this. Look at his economy. GG! And Curious flawlessly 4-0 takes our very first Code S spot.
Yeah, Curious takes it here with a 4-0 without dropping a single map, advances to Code S in Group B. Well played.
Well played indeed. Solid, man.
This guy has some balls. I mean, think about the builds that we saw. 10 pull in game number 1 against Sleep. Plays a double hatch before pull on the first map against Ruin. Then starts into a 10 pull against a Protoss player here.
On his Protoss opponent's map choice, which is a really cool idea. And then even in our second game against Effort that we saw in the ZVZ, after playing a greedy build, then he poured on the aggression suddenly, went for an aggressive build there. He's not messing around this season.
What I like the most about his builds is that he went for aggression, but he transitioned out of it every single time. That happened in the game against Sleep, and it happened in the game against Curious. Against Ruin. Never really overcommitting too much, just putting the screws on in the beginning, initiating the attack and the aggression, and then immediately following it up with better economy. And he just got ahead by this. He never tried to really completely all in and kill his opponent immediately. He just said, like, I'm going to attack you, I'm going to do so much damage that I'll be ahead with my transition. Right. I'm going to sacrifice some economy at the beginning, some drones. He will be ahead in the harvest account, but with the damage that I do, I will be get a better end of the trade.
Yeah, that was really, really solid play we saw. So Ruin's not out yet. Yeah. He will go to that final consolation match that we'll have at the very end to decide which of the last 2 players goes in. But what we do have, of course, is Effort versus Sleep and the losers match coming up next. And one of these players will fall down to Code B.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty intense match for both of them. Of course, for Ruin, he's now also in a spot where he knows, yes, I'm not out just yet, but I still have to win another round. Could go up against Sleep again, a player that he already defeated, but with a 2-1. I think Sleep would very much want this because he looked not... Well, first of all, he wants to win against Effort.
Right.
But then against Ruin, I feel that after the last best of 3 that he lost, he wants revenge. Yeah. Because he didn't look too happy after he lost that
That's
series.
The kind of loss that you take to where you're like, oh, I could have defended this. I could have done this. I could have won this game. I just messed up a little bit. And I lost because of it. So I definitely can beat this guy. So for him, I definitely agree with you. I think he's feeling like he wants that revenge. And he does want to, of course, go to the final match and defeat him. But I don't think he's going to feel nervous playing against a player who beat him if he gets to that point.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you there. Guys, we have once again, of course, another break coming up before we are heading into our losers match. This is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg, and then the consolation match, we will have another Protoss versus Zerg with Ruin kind of trying to make his way into it. This would be a great accomplishment for him. On the other hand, we have 2 really strong Zerg players now in the losers match. Effort is one of those guys where a lot of people said, like, yeah, he's going to make it into Code S. Same can be said of Sleep. So we're going to find out very, very soon what's happening there. Before that, we're going to jump into another short break, and as soon as we are back, we have the ZVZ between Effort and